Hey, this is Donald Rush with the Rush Group and giving you a market update here in December 2020. I know I get a lot of questions about what do I think is going to happen in the market? Is it a good time to buy? Is it a good time to sell? And so this is generally what my market updates are about. And they're generally going to sound a lot the same, from month to month. And things change a little here and there. But by paying attention to it regularly, you start to get an idea of what the market's doing, and it might help you decide if you want to make a change. But the biggest question on most people's mind right now is what's going to happen to the market? Should I be buying? Should I be selling? And so I'm going to give you a couple of ideas from that scenario. So, thing number one, inventory is at a very, very low spot right now. There's hardly any homes for sale. We listed a home in Hendersonville a few months back, or say a month back, and at the moment when we listed it, it was one of the only houses for sale in all of Hendersonville in the mid 200s, okay? And we got a lot of interest and got a contract immediately. So if you're in really anywhere in the middle Tennessee surrounding the Nashville area, you're probably in a situation with low inventory regardless of price point. That goes for land, houses, condos, townhomes, anything like that at all. So it's a great time to sell. The question is if you do sell, then what do you buy? Well, whatever you're buying, the benefit is you're getting it at a great interest rate. And at some point, the interest rate makes a really big difference. I'll give you an example. We bought a house to use as an investment property a few months ago. I paid more for that than I would typically normally pay for a rental home because generally the numbers would not have made sense. But because the interest rate is so low, now the numbers make sense. And so what we have to look at is, yes, home prices are higher than they've ever been in the greater Nashville area. However, interest rates are lower than they've ever been and tend to continue to drop, although incrementally. In the big scale, interest rates don't have a lot of room to go any lower because of the way the Fed works, with the exception of going to negative interest rates, which is, I guess, possible but unlikely. They could go lower, but they're probably not going to go much lower. So yes, prices are high, but you can lock in a historically low rate. So if you're selling and you think you're finally ready to move to that forever home, wouldn't you like to have a forever home at a record low interest rate? So that would be a good benefit of getting in now. So if the market did dip or stop going up a little bit, you're planning on staying there for the foreseeable future anyway. And if prices did start to come down, that's probably going to be an indicator that interest rates were starting to go up. So the question is, do I wait a couple of years for home prices to come down? But by that time, that may be that interest rates are going back up. Does that make sense? So I think what I generally recommend to people is that the Nashville area has a lot of growth potential left. It seems that the entire country is moving to this area. And so for a number of reasons that you're aware of. And so Nashville and the surrounding areas could continue to move up. And so by buying now at a low interest rate, you sort of insulate yourself against that inflation or appreciation, but you get in on it and you ride up with it. So I would say if you're thinking about selling, it's probably a safe bet to go ahead and get into the market now versus waiting and seeing what happens. Now, if you wait 6 months or so, it doesn't mean that you can't still get into it. But what you may find is that with home prices going up 10% or more year over year, by waiting a year, now a $300,000 house is $330,000. And that's a very real thing that's happening. So better to do it now than later. Although granted, if you still own your home, it's also worth more. So, but the interest rates are the key thing to consider there. Now, buying a home. Should you be buying a home now, or should you be waiting to see if interest rates go up, go down? They're not likely to go down any further. So if you've been waiting for rates to go lower to buy, I'd say go ahead and buy now. Now, the big thing that keeps people from buying is that home prices are so expensive. So you look out there at what you can buy and you say, wow, that's a lot and I wish it was lower. And so you think, well, maybe I'll wait and see what happens. What has happened, if you've been waiting over the last 3 or 4 years, they've just gone up and up and up. You would have been better off to have paid top dollar a year ago for a home, just get in at a great interest rate, and then get the in on the prices going up. So what is going to happen this next year? Well, we know that interest rates are low. They're not likely to get any lower. We know that home prices probably are either going to continue to go up, but maybe not at the same rate. The only thing that would keep home prices from continuing to go up would be if the interest rates were to begin to get raised. There's some unforeseen global crisis possibility always. Or there was a huge influx of inventory, because right now we have a major shortage of homes, and it is nearly impossible for builders to satisfy that inventory. They are so far behind. Even if they built at max capacity, they still wouldn't touch the shortage of inventory. And with lumber prices being crazy all over the place, you're not going to probably see builders going crazy on building homes either. So inventory is not likely to be fixed. There's probably not going to be this huge influx of homes coming on the market. And so more than likely, if you're looking to buy, it's not likely prices are going to start to come down. And let me say this, prices in real estate don't generally just crater, right? Even if you think about the worst real estate recession we've ever had back in 07, 08, it still took till 2011, 4 years to get to the bottom. Okay, so it was a gradual decline. So it's not like it's going to sneak up on you around the corner. So I think you can feel comfortable buying in that right now things are moving up. It's not like if you buy, then all of a sudden things are going to go down. Not likely. And even if they do go down, you got in at a great interest rate, which is going to allow you to ride that out. And so if you plan on staying in a home for 5 or 6 years, you probably make it through that bump. And typically those cycles don't last as long as they did this last time. So those are things to consider. Now, if you're renting, really consider buying, because rent is high right now. It is cheaper to own when you think about what you get for your monthly payment and outgo. If you want to talk about that, we'd love to get you in touch with a lender, get you pre-qualified. And the problem is there's not a lot of starter homes out there. The starter home prices have gone up, so you may have to, settle for something a little bit less than what you'd love to have, but you can start moving up. The longer you wait, the further the gap between where you're at and getting into that starter home price point becomes. The sooner you get in now, the easier it's going to be to ride up with that. The longer you wait, the farther and more difficult it is to get into the market. So if you have questions about real estate, we'd love to talk with you about that. Just a quick personal update for those that might be interested. We've been in quarantine for now like 10 days, probably got another 8 or 10 to go. That's been awesome. Our second child tested positive. Everyone else has tested negative. My wife and I are waiting on our results back, so that's awesome. And we took up blacksmithing. We were watching way too much knife making on TV, and since we're going to be stuck at home for the foreseeable future, so it feels, we went ahead and bought a forge and an anvil, beating out some knives, and so I may show you some photos of that, and if you see that on my personal page, you may share some of that later. Anyway, thanks for watching, and have a Merry Christmas, and we'd love to help you buy or sell your home. Have a great day.